That's about right, because I'm going to be covering these with eyelids. So if I'm thinking of just the eyeball itself, is that about the right size? Yeah, it's good. Okay, so then I'm going to score and slip, so write that down, that you do this, score and slip. And make sure your score lines are nice and deep and close together. You don't want any big flat spaces there. After you put the piece in place, you have to flatten them a little bit, but you don't want to flatten them with your thumb so much, or else you'll make weird impressions in them, so I use the fat part of my hand to flatten. So again, the eyes, this is important you do the eyes together, like each eye at the same time. If you try to finish one eye and then start the other eye, they're going to have crazy eyes, right? Because they won't look the same. So you want to make sure you're doing it at the same time. Look closely at your animal to see where the inside and outside corner are of the eyes. Where's the inside corner? It's kind of low, right? And then the outside corner, it's kind of high. Okay, so you pay attention to that. So the placement of this coil, where it connects. This will look a little weird at first. It's true. Placement right. If you get that coil on and you notice above there's a little gap there, I'm going to take another coil and put that in to fill that space, okay? So if I have a space above one, I can just fill it in. Okay, now after you put the coil on, you're going to blend only the top half of this coil, okay? Watch. You guys just yell at me if I'm not on the screen. Just the top half, and I leave the bottom where it touches the eye. Don't mess with that. Just leave that be. You're just blending the top up. Okay, so just blend up. And I will tell you, I do this really fast. So just remember that you're going to take more time, so yours will be better. And I'll just match up. And I'm looking at the shape I'm creating. So I look at the eye here on my picture, and I'm trying to match that shape with where I place the eyelid. Okay, and look, I've got a big gap underneath. Can you see that? So I'm going to fill that in with more clay. So the placement of the eyelids is really important. You don't just slap them on there wherever, because wherever you place them is going to create the shape of the eye. Okay, and then same concept as I did on the top, but now I'm just blending down from the eye. I like these little wooden modeling tools for this, but you can use whatever floats your boat. Redefine the tear duct, and I just use some kind of pointed tool that's not very sharp, so like this, not a needle tool. And I'll just point in and push down right there, and point in and push down right there. So just remember placement. Make sure you have them in the right, distance apart and right placement on the head. And then those steps are easy to follow, broken down, so any of you can do that. Okay, now to go to the nose, I want to look and make sure kind of from a side view that I'm getting this somewhat. I have kind of a weird indent right here that I'm going to fill in. Anytime you need to add clay, you can, but just know that however much you're building it up and thickening, that you might have to go back from the back later and carve it out so it's not as thick. But that's easy to do. That's not a big deal. So remember that rather than just leaving your mask weirdly shaped, that it's always okay to add to make it the right shape, and then you can go back in and fix. I'm again going to look from my side view and make sure I kind of have this shape right. So his nose, and little cheeks. This part, I'm going to push this out from underneath too. So if you ever have, like, his little bottom jaw needs to be a little bigger. You can always push out from underneath. Oh, thanks. Stretch that out a little. Okay. So then I want to draw on here where my nose is going to be. So this is for nose and mouth. Draw to get the placement. I'm just going to cut this off. This whole video is going to have the little Santa's elves working on their toys over there sound in the background. Santa's little workshop. Okay, and I'm just drawing that shape first of the nose, the basic. So I'm looking at my picture, getting kind of the size and the placement right. It's a little hard to tell, actually, because this bear is in the water. But I'm going to guess a little bit about the placement of the mouth. Okay. So I've just drawn it. Tilt this up a little bit more. So remember, your features can't just be drawn. So you're going to actually have to sculpt. Now this technique is not adding anything on. It's not carving anything off. It's all pressing. Okay, so I'm going to use the curved end of one of these wooden modeling tools. I'm going to go around the nose, and I'm going to press in right along that line. And with the curved part angled in toward the middle of the nose. Okay, and what this does is it makes it look like the nose is an actual three-dimensional form. So this is like just a simple way version of this to do this. Can you tell from that if I hold it? Different angles. Basically separating the nose from the fur, or from the rest of the flesh here. And then for this little thing, what's that called? That little like line. I'm going to take and push in and then pull to the side and do that on both sides to make that, give it much more rounded look. And then I'm going to do this all the way down the upper lip. And now I'm pushing in a lot farther because the mouth is a real opening in the face. So you actually, want to show that it's depth here. So I'm pushing in and rounding out that. And then I'll flip it over and do the same thing on the bottom lip. Okay. Nostrils, don't forget. So his nostrils, his or her, I'm just going to kind of draw the shape. And then I'm just going to use one of these wooden tools and just push it in. And a nostril, again, is a real opening, so you want it to be a deeper, so it creates that shadow. So no carving out involved. Be careful that you're noticing the shape. What shape do you think people always want to make nostrils, but it always makes it look like a pig? Circle, yeah. Don't just do circular, because they almost never are circular unless you're doing a pig. Okay. Anyway, I do this very quickly, so obviously that could have a lot of improvement.